everybody. Hi, Terry. Yeah, remember I promised you I need a little time to keep working on this? Well, the community property states in the United States are Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin. Oh, and also Puerto Rico. That's only 9 states and one U.S. territory, but those 9 states and Puerto Rico make up 25% of the population. So a quarter of Americans live in community property states. The state of Alaska, by the way, allows couples to choose whether they want to follow the community property or the common law property when dividing up their marital assets upon death or divorce. All other states are not community property states. It gets more complicated, and first you have to be sure that you're listing the right trust for the right state. You have to figure out which state you're considered to be a resident in. I mean, I know it's complicated. Think about it. You work in one state, you go to school weekends in another state, you own property in, I don't know, 1 or 2 states. So make sure you've picked the right state so the trust will be valid. Are you confused about that too? I am not trying to confuse you. I just want to make sure things are good. I mean, where do you file state income taxes? Or let's go back to a search engine, that www.investopedia.com, and put in tax residency. Scroll down and you'll find a long, large chart that lists alphabetically every single state and the rules and expectations. For most people, this isn't very complicated. But for a few people, especially living on the border or in the military or moving around or working in different places, it is complicated. So once you've selected the type of trust, and for most people, it's going to be a revocable trust. It can be revoked, and go find the state that you have to go by their rules. Then make sure when you're sitting at your computer, you have a list of your assets. No, you don't have to list every single account and the amount you have, because that's going to change. You just want to be able to list them so that you can get them retitled to show that they are owned by your trust. Yep, you'll have to change the name, but we'll talk about that. Mostly you just have to get the word trust added to the title. But places like www.trustandwill.com or a lawyer or even your local bank where you do most of your banking can help you do all that. Fortunately, once you do it, it's done. But you want to make sure you keep your list current. Did you see that 2-part video that Ned did about getting all your accounts and passwords organized? This is another use for all that. It will help you today so you don't forget your passwords, and it will help your executor or your estate administrator when you die. How about, do you want a simple, free template to play with of a living trust? Well, okay. Go to www.lawdepot.com and type living trust after that. Or go to www.rocketlawyer.com, and in their opening, there's a search box, and just type in living trust. You'll get 2 totally free templates to get you started. Just print them out. No, you might not want to really use these, but it's going to help you decide how to do this whole process. Yeah, they might try to sell you services, but you can just use it. Print it out. It's a template. It's a start. You know what, Terry? The hardest part of this is getting started. I know that I would start working on mine and then quit. Start thinking that I didn't know what to do, or I was afraid that I was spending money on something when I wasn't organized enough. So I kind of froze. I kept putting it under the pile of things to do. Remember the stories that you've heard Teresa and Ned and Mia talk about with deaths happening because everyone was convinced they were going to live at least to old age? Well, what is that? What's normal? It's a mathematical average. And yes, you won't be around to see the mess you've left. But deep in your heart, you know you have to do this. It's your job. It's your responsibility. Yes. And if you use a living trust, which is the most popular type of trust, you will most probably avoid most or all of the costs in probate and probate court in general. A will includes your instructions for those who get your belongings, money, other assets after you die. A will is an essential estate planning document, and most people would benefit from at least having that. Wills have to be proven during probate. It's possible your assets will go to someone other than your intended heirs if your will is improperly constructed and found out to be invalid. The whole process could be costly and time-consuming. But assets you put in a trust don't go through probate, so you have more control over who gets the trust assets. A trust, as we've been talking about, is a legal entity that you transfer ownership of your assets to, so that after you die, the people you choose as the beneficiary of the trust get ownership of your assets. Not everyone needs a trust, but they help you dictate the rules by which your beneficiary can access your assets. Ultimately, wills and trusts work hand in hand. Having a trust ensures your assets are handled according to your wishes, but only assets in the trust are covered. You might forget something. A will would handle anything that isn't in your trust, and your will can even include instructions for transferring things into a trust. Back to that www.trustandwill.com offering. They include a listing of assets, a will, that's also called a last will and testament, or a pour over will, things that we might pour over as they're forgotten in the trust. It has your HIPAA authorization, a living will, power of attorney, and certification of the trust. All that's part of their fee. It's so much to plod through, but doing something is a whole lot better than nothing. And again, you really can get the first blush done in 20 minutes. If you're worried about spending like their $600 fee, then think about what it will cost your estate should you drop dead without your paperwork in order. It's frightening. Oh, Terry, more later. Make up a list of questions. Us puppets can help. If you like this help, please subscribe and give me a like to keep me working away. Thanks, y'all.